StudioARS is an authorized Autodesk developer. We have crossed also the 25 years threshold last year. We are mainly selling and distributing our software in Europe and the Americas, the USA and other American countries. In the last few years, we are focusing, of course, like everybody else, on BIM for BIM for infrastructure. And to keep it quite simple, so what does BIM for infrastructure in pipe design mean? Well, it means data, lots and lots of data, and the more BIM you get, the more data you will have. What you need is some sort of solution to manage all this data and the increasing amount of data you will be handling. So this is why we introduced Urbano Visio, which is an add-in for Civil 3D to help you with data management with your gravity pipe networks. So specifically, what can you do with the software? So it will help you create custom data groups. You will be able to edit multiple elements, multiple data at once, and not only that, but much more. And we provide some analysis tools with selections and filters. So it's basically for all Civil 3D users, so engineers, CAD managers, drafters, everybody can use it. And the best thing is it's basically still your Autodesk workflow, so this will not change. What will change is you will get some increased productivity out of your workflow, and also we can provide a couple of unique features which should hopefully help you with your designs. Okay, so moving over to the software. So as you can see, this is Civil 3D, and I'm currently in the add-ins section. So when you install the software, it just goes directly into the add-ins, like every other add-in for Autodesk. And I will just show you quickly the license manager. So you have it right in your ribbon bar. So when you need to request a trial or activate a license or something, this is where you go, and this is where you enter your code and activate your software or request a trial, and that's it. So it's quite simple. You know, we try to keep it as simple as possible for this part. Okay, so what do I have here? I have a simple example made with Civil 3D. So some plan and also a couple of profiles made with Civil 3D. So we have two networks. You can also see them here as usual, so storm and sanitary networks. And Urbano Visio is basically this table which you can move around on your screen. I like to keep it at the bottom, but it's up to you. What's the general idea of the software? You have the pipe panorama, pipe vista, which shows you a lot of data about your pipes. You can see it a little bit here in the left corner. Let's say the problem with this approach is that you get all of the data at once. And then you have to like deselect what you don't want to see currently, and so on. So it's and we were thinking, how can we optimize this? And we came up with the solution to let the user create his own data groups. So instead of always starting from everything and then slowly disconnecting what is currently not important, we'll let you create your own groups, and then you can structure your workflow around this. So when you're doing some invert design, you can have one group of data which you want to take a look at. When you're doing plan design, you can have a second group. When you're doing hydraulic design, you can perhaps have a third group. When you're preparing some kind of report, you can have a fourth group of data which is relevant, and so on. So in essence, there is an unlimited amount of data groups you can have. And it's also quite simple to create them. So there's different groups of pipes and structures, of course. So just go over to pipes and say create a new group, and we can call it test group 1. And I go and add some data. So here on the left side you can see all of the data in Civil 3D. And by that I really mean all of the data. So that's not only the data you would normally see in the pipe vista or the structure vista, but also some let's say hydraulic data or part list data which maybe are not visible there but are visible only in the pipe list, part list, or only in the pipe properties or structure properties, or something like this. And we can also work with other types of data, but I will show you this a little later on. And also we made some groups to help you search for your data. So everything about invert and slope we created like a subgroup. So whenever you need it, you know it's there in this in this group. So I'm going to just create a simple group here, and click OK. Now I have also some a little bit configuration options. So for example, I can move things up and down. Okay, I need one more thing in a diameter. Okay. You can also give your own custom names. You can also do some on-the-fly multiplications. You can add some suffixes if you want. So you can. It's like creating a report, except it's a live report. Okay, and this is our test group. You can see, you can review everything you put inside. You just click OK. And it goes into this selection, and you can just click on it, and these 5 different data will activate, and you can review all the numbers. Also at the bottom you always have a live recap. So currently I'm selecting one pipe out of 84, and I have my total length and everything. So there's like a live recap. Okay, and the way I created this group for pipes, it's this in the same way I can create a group for structures, except of course I will select from a different data group from Civil 3D. Okay. So the other important thing is with the pipe vista and structure vista, you're always selecting the whole project. With Urbano Visio, it's not necessary. We have several selection methods which allow you to really focus on specific parts of your design. So, of course, the default action is select all, select everything. But I can also use some special selections. So let me move over to the storm network, and I can, just use the standard, selection window and select my data like this. I can go in and select individual pipes. I can also do the same for structures. So then you can see the selection changes to show me just the structures. I can then select branches. So these are created automatically by the software. There's nothing you need to do. And as soon as I select, I get all the data inside. And also, last but not least, I have some advanced selections, let's say. So I can select an element sequence, which can also be, a little bit more complex if I want it to be. And also, I can select directly from a profile. So I only need to hover my mouse and I can select the profile directly. Okay, so that's fine. What else is important? While I'm moving around this table, you will see also this green square or this green highlight moving along the profile and also the plan view. This is my very simple way to highlight actually what I'm currently looking at. So there's another thing that's missing in the pipe vista. So here it's, if I want to check out slopes from my pipes, it's I always have this visual analysis, which allows me to really see what I'm doing. And if I need to zoom in, I can do that as well. So it's quite simple to do. I can zoom in into the plan view. I can zoom in into the profile view. It doesn't matter where on which value I click in the table. It's everything will work. Also, I can use multiple select to zoom in and to show different things. And also I can start this auto zoom. So whenever I move, the zoom will move automatically, and this also is true for the profile. So if I wanted to, I can work like this as well. Last but not least, we have a few settings to adjust things. So for example, I can change this highlight color if I want to. Also, I have the zoom factors for the plan view and separately for the profile view. So if I want to be more zoomed in or zoomed out by default, I can change it in the settings. Okay, so let's go back to the plan. Okay, so these are like the basics. Okay, so you can create your own groups, and you can visually connect the numbers with the graphics on the screen, and you always know what you're doing. So and you can zoom in and zoom out and so on. So that's great. Now, what will you actually be doing? The point of all this is faster, smarter editing, of course, and analysis. So, you can edit and analyze different things. So the basics, of course, is to analyze your Civil 3D data, the data you already have. I can, for example, select several structures, and I go into edit value, and while I'm in the name column, it will, a special dialog will pop up, open, and I can change the name of the structure. I can, change these settings a little bit, play with them, and when I'm satisfied, I can change the name. What's important is I can do it for a single structure, I can do it for multiple structures, however I want it. The important thing is, as you can see, the name changed for Visio, but it also changed for Civil 3D. So this is one of the most important things about the software, is that we are using standard Autodesk procedures, and so nothing funny will be created by using this software. This is still a 100% Civil 3D design. And what I want to say, when we change something with Visio, we actually change it with a Civil 3D function. So the effect is the same as if you were to do it with Civil 3D. And this is why Civil 3D, being a dynamic software, when I change something in one place, it will automatically update everywhere else. So when I change something with Visio, I of course also automatically change the labels of Civil 3D. Okay, so I can change the names. I can also move over to this shorter configuration, and I can, for example, change also the type of the structure. So when I click on editing, while I'm in the description, I get the chance to change the structure type. And so this is my part list. It's very small. But basically that's the idea, that you can directly change your parts directly also from Visio. And if it's a, let's say, standard numeric value, like the sum depth, then I can change those as well. And as you can see, they update in Visio, but of course they also update in Civil 3D, and so this profile is automatically updated to the new sum depth. Okay, what we can do for structures, we can do, of course, also for pipes, or at least similar things. One of the first things, okay, is also the naming, of course. So we can change the names in similar ways, but we can also do something a little bit more smarter. So we can actually use the structure names to name our pipes. It's using this expression. It's quite simple to do it. So just apply, and the same with the structures. So once we change it with Visio, we changed Civil 3D, and this means Civil 3D will update this instance everywhere. And which you can see in the labels, they now reflect the new naming standard. and so the pipes are now named according to the starting and ending structure names. And a second thing which is very useful is to change the diameters of pipes. So I can just simply select this sequence of pipes. Again, the same with the structures. My part list opens, and I select a different part, and the value is not only changed. So it's not just this value changed. I actually changed the pipe, and the pipe has a new value of diameter, and so it's reflected in Visio, and it's reflected in the labels of Civil 3D as well. So the process of editing is always very similar between pipes and structures. So it's you can learn it in a couple of minutes, and afterwards you just work. Okay. So these are the let's say the standard things. We can do a couple of other things as well. So I can now say, okay, I'm not happy with this group. I want to add some additional data to it, and of course that's possible. And some of the additional data which we can work with are the custom data from the part list. Okay, so in your part lists, you can, for pipes and structures, you can set certain custom data. And in this case, we defined two, custom category and custom street. And I just add them to this configuration. And once I click OK, they will appear in this data grid. And as you can see, everything is undefined. So this is one of the, let's say, one of the issues with this custom data is, okay, you can define them in the part list, but then you need to enter all of this data. And if you're entering one by one, it's quite a long process, or it can be quite a long process. With Visio, it's of course much faster, so we can just select a bunch of elements and just enter all the data. So I just type in a new value, and as you can see, again, the same behavior like with the Civil 3D data for pipes and structures is also for this custom data from the part list. So I'm actually changing it with Civil 3D, and then these changes reflect everywhere, including labels, including everything else where they are used. Okay, and I can do a bit more with actually this data grid. So, for example, I can draw a table. So, this is looks like a standard table, and it is. It's a standard AutoCAD table. And this is a little bit special actually, because Civil 3D has its own tables. And if you want to have Civil 3D data in a table, you must use the Civil 3D table because the AutoCAD table is not able to show this data. On the other hand, the AutoCAD table is, let's say, a bit more flexible than the Civil 3D data, and some people they prefer to use the AutoCAD table. So we basically made a marriage between the two concepts. And we are creating an AutoCAD table which allows you to use all of the AutoCAD table functions. So I just created a little sum of this column. It's quite fast to do. So you can use all of the AutoCAD editing functions as you wish, but we put Civil 3D data inside of this AutoCAD table. And not only that, but this data, this table actually can be dynamic. So if I make some changes to the data which is shown in the table, you will see the data updates in Visio, it updates in Civil 3D in the labels, and it also updates in the table that I just draw. So again, this is a behavior which can be controlled. So there's a setting in the program here which is currently set on true. You can disable it. If you don't want a live table, you can disable the setting, and you will get a disconnected table. Okay, if you just take a look at this sum, 164. There's another important property. So if I stretch this pipe along, you will see also this table is not only dynamic when I use Urbano Visio for editing. It's dynamic for all editing, also with Civil 3D. So when I change the length of this pipe with Civil 3D grips, this table will also update. Okay, last but not least, I can select everything, copy, go over to Excel, and just paste all of this data inside. And so it's quite fast, quite easy to get any kind of data out from Civil 3D and into your Excel. So I can just, I can just go back. I can say, okay, I want, pipe hydraulics. Okay, for the same segment, just copy, go over to my Excel file, paste inside, and I will get the hydraulic data. So any data I want, I can very quickly just copy and paste into Excel. So basically you can use Visio also to create very simple reports or just data tables which you can use for for some other problems. So what you do is basically you create a data group like I showed in the beginning. Then you make your selection. Okay, what part of network, the whole network, just one part, or what you want to do, and then you just select what you want and copy it. You can also you don't need to select everything. You can, for example, you can select just one part and press copy and just paste it. So it's very flexible, it's very fast, it's very simple to do, and that's the main idea. Okay, so you want to be able to handle your data with speed. Okay, so talking about special data, we also have Civil 3D also includes a special data source, let's say, which is called the label expressions. And so I will show it in Civil 3D. So these are label expressions created with Civil 3D. Okay, so there's nothing to do with Urbano Visio. So the idea behind these label expressions is that you might need to calculate something which was not, let's say, was not imagined by the Civil 3D development team, but they give you a lot of different values to choose from and different mathematical functions, and so you can create your own expressions, mathematical expressions, which you can then use with labels, to display. You can use the Civil 3D labels to display the results of these mathematical calculations. Okay, so that's all very nice. But what we choose to do is we went one step further. So we allow you to review these expressions also in Urbano Visio. And for this example, we created a simple, very simplified, not at all very precise calculation of the trench, of a pipe trench. So now, if I want to see this very simple trench calculation, I can just select one part of the network, let Civil 3D calculate, and I get my pipe volume and my trench volume for each pipe segment. So it's very simple to do. Okay, I can maybe go do some editing and just add a pipe name as well. Move it on top. Okay. So now it looks a little bit better, and again I can work with it like with everything else. So I can just copy paste it into my Excel, and now if I want to use Excel to do any kind of summary, max, average, or whatever mathematical function, I can quite easily do it. Okay, another thing we can do with the data is we can apply some filters. So I can show you very briefly. So you can have very simple filters like, okay, show me everything where the from the pipe upper top depth is, let's say, less than 1, or higher than 1 or 5, or whatever value you want to use. So it's just a simple expression. You can also concatenate expressions. You can say, okay, I want to see pipes with the inner diameter which is greater than 0.4, and also I don't know, shape is circular, for example. And the program will show you this expression. So if I want to use it, I just set, for example, I set a configuration to show it, and I apply this filter, and I can see that in the current selection I don't have anything. I don't have anything that complies to this filter, but when I apply it to the whole system, then I can see actually my results, which are displayed here. In a similar way, I can search for, let's say, some structures with a cover that is less than 1 meter in this case, and the program will show me each structure where this is the case. And okay, then I have this information. Again, I can export it to an Excel sheet. I can create an AutoCAD table around it. I can just go and do some editing. You know, you do whatever you need to do. Okay. Last, and I will wrap up, is I wanted to show you a little bit of different design, and you know, some different idea what you can do. So in this example, and this is an example from a customer. So he created three networks here, and okay, we can choose this sanitary sewer network, and again I will just choose this branch to show some data. So it's again the same thing. If I go into editing, I will get my part list. As you can see, the part list here is different. So of course the part list is part of design. So this is a different design made by a different person, and he of course used a different part list. And so if I want to, you know, make some changes, I can do it from here, and of course the values change. So everything else is the same. It's just you know, to get you an idea that this is actually a universal thing. Okay. And so I would want to, just for the end, I want to play quite briefly with something that's called object data. So object data is like an old data type. It's available in Map 3D actually. Because it's available in Map 3D, you also have it in Civil 3D. And with Urbano Visio, we can access this data as well. So if you are getting maybe some data from GIS systems, or maybe you need to deliver data to GIS systems, you can use this data type. This data format is also, you know, quite useful for other things. The important thing is with Urbano Visio we can use it, and so I just add it to the right side in my configuration like everything else. So there's no difference. Okay, and I click OK, and I see my status is currently set to nothing. And I can, for example, again go into editing and, you know, just say these have a good status, and this one is in bad shape. Okay, it happens with sewage pipes; they get broken over time. What's one of the advantages of this type of system? Well, you will see here on the left side I have the standard basic CAD properties, and in these CAD properties I can also see my object data. So when I go and select you know, different elements from the drawing, I go and select a different pipe, I will also get the status I just set with Urbano Visio. Okay, I found my bad pipe. So the point is, you can use Urbano Visio to set this kind of data, and then you can give it over to somebody who doesn't even have Civil 3D, they have Map 3D, and they can still see the work you've done, and they can use it, of course, to do some work of their own. So this is, let's say, an idea what you can do also with Urbano Visio.